You're watching The Attorneys, a paid advertisement brought to you by the law firm of Hollis, Wright.
Car crashes, defective products, dangerous drugs, injuries, and abuse. Across the state of Alabama, The Attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis Wright, are here to serve you. Your tough legal questions answered by our experts with The Attorneys of Hollis Wright.
You know, for most of us, driving is an everyday part of our life. Whether you're getting to work or going to buy groceries or whatever you're doing, you have to drive to get around. But what happens if your license is suspended or revoked? We're going to talk about getting reinstated. Yes, that's a big deal. We're going to talk about it here in just a few minutes. But first, Art Franklin, glad to have you here on The Attorneys. And we want to let you know that you can reach one of the attorneys at Hollis Wright right now. They'll be manning the phones throughout the program at 1-844-LAW-TALK. It's a free and confidential call. That's another way you can reach them. There's a QR code on the screen. Scan that. You can also reach someone at Hollis Wright by doing that. John Spade is with us today. Glad to have you, John.
Glad to be back, Art. Glad to be here. And we have got a great show tonight and a fantastic guest in Catherine King. We're going to be talking about the road to reinstatement on driver's license. And so before we jump into the topic, Catherine, again, thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate it.
Thank you all for having me again.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, what areas of the law do you cover, and just kind of give us a little bit of background.
I practice primarily criminal defense, and that covers in Alabama. It covers a wide range of topics, and actually traffic tickets are. Most of them are not criminal in nature, but they are treated under the criminal umbrella of courts in Alabama. So I do a lot of criminal, and then a lot of that is traffic, dealing with driver's licenses, trying to get driver's licenses back.
Okay, and we're going to talk about kind of what happens or ways that your license can get revoked, and then what you can do to get it reinstated if that does happen,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Let's talk. There's multiple different types of driver's license, correct?
There are.
Now today, are we going to be talking about like CDL drivers, truck drivers, or are we going to talk about the kind of license that everybody might have driving around?
Today I figure because there's so much information with driver's license, even your basic Class D driver's license, which is a driver's license that most people would have. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. CDL is its own animal, and so I'll hold off on that one.
Hold off and go through the FMCSR regs and all of the...
That would take about 5 shows. But a Class D driver's license, that's the one that most people have. And that's the ones that I tend to get the most calls about, even more than CDL issues.
Okay.
And so a Class D driver's license, that would, anybody that can get a Class D driver's license if they're over the age of 16, if they're not revoked or suspended in Alabama or any other state, as long as they're not a habitual drug or alcohol user, documented, and as long as they don't have any type of impairment, mental or physical, that would keep them from being able to safely and reasonably drive an automobile.
Okay, and so this is everybody that's out there on the road that's driving in Alabama has got an Alabama license. Let's talk about are there some age limitations, some stages that you have to go through before you can get a driver's license? Let's kind of unpack how you get the license, I think, first.
Yes, but when I was in high school, and I may be dating myself, I'm not very sure, but when I was 15 years old, you get your learner's permit, you
Right.
drive with mom or dad in the car with you, and you do that until you turn 16, and then you're just free to drive. We were free to drive wherever and whenever. But now, so a 15-year-old now is able to go get the Stage 1 license, and that is a basic learner's permit. That allows them to drive with a parent, legal guardian, Somebody who is over the age of 21, that person has to be in the passenger seat with them. It could also be a certified driving instructor through if they're in driver's ed or something like that. So a 15-year-old can drive under those circumstances. That's what the stage 1 driver's license allows.
But not a 15-year-old and their brother or sister who's
Correct.
16 years old.
Correct.
Okay. They can't run to the store and pick something up.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got that's the learner's permit stage 1.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have to go through stage 1 to get to stage 2?
If you are under the age of 18 years old, if you're under the age of 17 years old, yes, you would have to go through stage 1 to get to stage 2, and you have to have that learner's permit for at least 6 months.
Okay.
So you're driving for 6 months under a learner's permit, you've turned 16 in that time, then you can go to a stage 2 license.
Under stage 1, is there any, because I might be dating myself as well, I remember with my permit, I had to log so many hours, or some people would go to an instructor and you have to do like a driving test. Do you have that driving test in stage 1?
You have a written test in stage 1.
Okay.
You don't have the driving test in stage 1, but you do have a written test in stage 1. The code does talk about 50 hours. I believe that comes towards stage 2 and getting that stage 2 license. I haven't dealt with clients that have had any kind of issue with that. And I'm not the issuing authority, so I don't deal a whole lot with that part of it.
I gotcha.
But based off of the code, there is 50 hours, I believe, and I assume that happens when that 16-year-old driver goes to get that stage 2 permit, would have to show that they've done that at that point. Parents sign off on it saying that they have done that.
Okay.
I guess I'm kind of dating myself too. We actually got on the horse and rode the horse through. I wasn't dating myself. But seriously though, since we're talking about driver's licenses and them getting suspended, what are some of the common reasons why a person would lose their driver's license?
Well, this is not an exhaustive list. What I see the most, obviously DUIs, that's the first thing most people are gonna think of, either DUIs or points. With DUIs, and I know y'all have had a lot of DUI attorneys on here talking about driver's license suspensions that come with that. There is an administrative suspension, there can be a judicial from the court, a suspension from the court. That aside, we have a point system in Alabama. If you have a certain number of points within a 24-month period and different moving violations incur a different type of point or different level number of point, and you reach a certain threshold within a 24-month period, and your license is going to be suspended for a certain amount of time. So for instance, a regular speeding ticket is 2 points. A reckless driving ticket is 5 points. So if you have, I had a client one time with 2 reckless driving tickets and a speeding ticket, and they were suspended.
And I want to pick that up, and we'll talk about some of the ways that it can get suspended or revoked. Also want to continue all the phases that you have to go through to get your license. I assume that these suspensions and getting it revoked is after you've gone through these phases, you have your license? Or can it happen during that process as well?
You can be revoked and have never had a license before.
Oh my goodness.
I'm interested to find out how that happens. Revoked without even having a license.
Yes.
All right. We'll put a pin right there as we continue this discussion here on The Attorneys. We want to thank you, first of all, for joining us. Also want to make it possible for you to reach someone. If you need information, if there's some legal information that you want to get right now, we're making that possible by having attorneys from Hollis, Wright man the phones while we're on this program. All you have to do is call 1-844-LAW-TALK, 1-844-LAW-TALK. You'll reach someone on the other end. It's an attorney. It's a free call. It's a confidential call. We're making that happen for you right now. We'll continue this discussion when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching The Attorneys.
Here's some good information from our firm to you. Hollis Wright recently launched the Law Talk podcast. With podcasts becoming so popular, this will be a simple way to provide our loyal viewers with more opportunities to access information about important legal topics and to learn more about our firm and how we can help you if the need ever arises. There are many ways to access the Law Talk podcast. You can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Also, episodes are always available on the Hollis Wright YouTube channel, as well as on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Just search up Hollis Wright in the Law Talk podcast. Don't wait, take advantage and listen today. Thanks for watching The Attorneys, and we know you'll enjoy the Law Talk podcast.
The Attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis Wright, are here to serve you.
When we started the show in 2011, my goal was to do what our firm does best. Help people answer questions related to real-world legal issues they have in their lives in a way that's not intimidating to talk with a lawyer. If the issue is important to you, it's equally important to us, and we're ready to talk with you at no cost.
Yeah, oftentimes people are confronting various legal issues in their lives that really run the gamut of a lot of different legal practice areas such as bankruptcy, criminal law, civil law such as personal injury, divorces, domestic relations. And to be able to have a show once a week that covers those practice areas and answers people's questions in those areas, that's really the main objective of the show.
We use the resources of the many lawyers at our law firm to create a plan that has a lasting impact for each person that calls or texts. And we also give back to the community at the same time. We are here to serve you, the viewer, each week on The Attorneys.
If this place could talk, it wouldn't. It would sing and celebrate all of our stories of addiction recovery, victory, and community. This is Bradford Health Services. It all changes here.
You're watching The Attorneys, a paid advertisement brought to you by the law firm of Hollis Wright.
The road to reinstatement, your driver's license. That's the topic that we have on this episode of The Attorneys. Also, before we leave, I want to remind you about all of our social media platforms. We've got great content there. Make sure you join us on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook so you can see what's happening. Also behind the scenes, we've got that as well. But this is a really important topic because so much we all need our driver's license for what we do every day. You need your driver's license to get to the airport, to get through to get in there. So getting a license, and then if you lose your license, how to get it reinstated. That's what we're talking about.
And let's continue on with going through on what you have to do to get your license. We talked about stage one with the learner's permit, and then we're into stage two after you've gone through that first stage. Let's pick up from there. Talk from stage two through actually becoming an adult and getting your license.
So stage two would be basically more or less between 16 and 18. There's some 17-year-old restrictions in there, but basically you have to have the stage one for 6 months before you can have the stage two. Once you turn 16, or if you're less than 18, you have to have a stage two driver's license before you can have a stage three driver's license, which will make you a full-fledged adult driver. With the stage two license, that's where you're actually going to be doing a road exam. Your parents, legal guardian have to sign off a waiver, basically a consent form allowing for that driver, that stage two driver to be driving by themselves. They can only have family members in the car with them or one non-family member in the car with them. So if you have a 16-year-old stage two driver that has twin 14-year-old siblings and another one of their friends needs to go home from basketball practice that night, that would be allowed.
Okay.
But they can't have three friends in the car with them going home from basketball practice. They can have family members in the car and one non-family member in a car with them.
We don't want a new ish driver with 6 or 7 people in the car distracting
Lots
them.
of distractions for people who are still trying to get that maturity underneath them.
I gotcha.
Now, they also have nighttime restrictions. They can't drive from midnight to 6 a.m. unless they're going to or from work, to or from a school function, to or from a religious event. They have somebody that's 21 years old with them in the passenger seat, or there is an actual emergency. And I will say Aaliyah's website is great at listing all of these things. So if there's any questions about if you have a teen and you're worried about a graduated driver's license and fees and all the things that it's going to take to get that teen their driver's license and what stage they would be in, Aaliyah is a great resource for that.
That's very good to know, especially for all the people out there that have kids in that age range and they're starting to think about getting the driver's license and everything. My mom used to always tell me nothing good happens after midnight, and so I guess that.
As a criminal defense attorney, she's absolutely right. I can say she's absolutely correct.
So you mentioned something in the first segment. During this whole process, before you have your kind of, I don't know if unrestricted driver's license is a good term or not, but a full-fledged, you don't have, the occupancy, requirements, all sorts of stuff.
Stage 3, Class D.
Stage 3, Class D.
Yes.
Can you get a license restricted before you ever actually have a license?
Yes. So Aaliyah, and actually there is a database that Aaliyah is set up with to where all the states talk to each other regarding driver's licenses. And they will assign, if you get pulled over, you're 20 some odd years old, you get pulled over, you get a driving while suspended, a ticket for driving while suspended. You will go into that database and they will assign you a driver's license number. It's just a number to designate you as the person. And that number will follow you until you get your actual driver's license number once you get everything cleared out.
Oh, wow.
So even if you've never had a driver's license number before, even if you've never had a driver's license, they know all the tickets you've had and all the things that you would have to get cleared up to be able to actually get reinstated or to get instated to get initially instated to have a driver's license even for the first time.
Got to follow the rules even before you get your driver's license.
Correct.
So let's talk about some restrictions and some reasons for why. We touched upon the point system a little bit in the first segment. Let's kind of unpack that a little bit more if we can. I know, a lot of people, DUI is always a big one, and there's kind of specific like an interlock device, and there's certain restrictions that can be placed for a DUI. We talk about speeding. What are some of the other, ways that you can get a restriction on your driver's license?
So, so with speeding, that basically just comes down to points. If you get several moving violations within a 24-month period, and each one for purposes of points drops off after they've reached 24 months old. So we're talking within a 24-month period, and that 24-month period is fluid. So 12 to 14 points in a 24-month period, a license is going to be suspended for 60 days. And it starts from there and it goes up from there. So as long as you can have a speeding ticket or two, you're probably not going to get suspended unless you've had more than that in a short period of time. Other things, if you get a speeding ticket and you fail to appear in court for it, if you plead guilty to the speeding ticket and you never pay your fine, so failures to appear, failure to pay fines, failure to pay child support is one of those things that can get your driver's license suspended. And there's a process for that, but that is a legal grounds to suspend a driver's license. That's not an exhaustive list, but there are several things that can suspend a driver's license.
Very interesting.
Indeed, and the topic is the road to reinstatement. And we're going to get deep into that when we come back in our final segment, but you can still have time. You still have time to reach someone at Hollis Wright by calling 1-844-LAW-TALK for that free confidential call. Also, follow us on social media, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Just want to remind you about that as well. We'll wrap up this conversation on the road to reinstatement, your driver's license, here on The Attorneys when we come back.
Thank you for watching The Attorneys each Sunday night, where we come to your living room to provide free legal advice in a confidential, off-air setting. Unfortunately, with the number of calls, texts, and emails that come in during the show, we can't always get to everything. But know this, Hollis Wright is open all week long. You call us at 844-LAW-TALK and we're going to answer your question for free. Thank you for watching The Attorneys, and we look forward to seeing you and talking to you soon.
Addiction kills hope.
But at Bradford, it all changes here.
Experience the difference
that proven treatment can make.
Find recovery. Find community.
At Bradford.
You're watching The Attorneys, a paid advertisement brought to you by the law firm of Hollis Wright.
And welcome back to The Attorneys as we wrap up this segment on the road to reinstatement, your driver's license. Now, we're running out of time to get an attorney at Hollis Wright. We've got a little bit more time, though. You can call 1-844-LAW-TALK for that free, confidential call. Reach someone at Hollis Wright. The Hollis Wright lawyer we have with us right now is John Spade. As we talk about this topic.
Yeah, we've kind of been, jumping into how you get your driver's license and what happens if you get points on your license and it gets restricted. Catherine, I want to unpack it. You got someone that comes to your office or calls you and says, "Hey, my license has been suspended or restricted or revoked." What do you do about kind of unpacking that, and how do you get it reinstated once that's already happened?
Well, and I want to go ahead and add, because this would affect this too. If you've never had a driver's license and you've had tickets, like I was saying before, but they still know who you are, and they still know that you've had things in your past. So we've got to get. So even if that's the case, we have to get those cleared up, and so we have to find out what those things are. And Aaliyah has kept up with all of these things. They have actually kept up with whether if an out-of-state court will report back to Alabama. If you're an Alabama resident, they'll report back on your license. And so Alabama doesn't have any jurisdiction over that court, but if that court reports to Aaliyah and says this person didn't show up for court in Georgia and we've got this pending against him, you're going to have to go take care of that in Georgia. So all that to say, we get a list of all of the items that are holding a license up. When you don't go to court, you don't pay a ticket, something to that effect, that court is supposed to send Aaliyah something suspending your license, notification to suspend your license. It doesn't happen all the time, but they're supposed to do that. And if you don't have mandatory liability insurance, that will actually also report, and that can suspend your license. That will all the things that you possibly could have that have been reported to Aaliyah that are suspending your license. I think you can go online to Aaliyah's website and print that up. I know I email Aaliyah and they will send that back to me on a client's behalf. If I don't have a driver's license number for them, I provide a name and a date of birth, and they're able to pull it and send that back to me. So even if that person's never had a license before and they're in their 40s and want to get their license for the first time, we start there too. That's where we start. And so we just start taking each of these items and we start knocking them out. Do we need to file a motion to recall a warrant so you can go into court and pay for whatever or address whatever? If you are driving on a revoked license and you plead guilty to driving on a revoked license, that will suspend your license for an additional 6 months. And so a lot of times when you go into court, judge will ask you, are you able to get your driver's license back? Can you get it back? Can you bring that to me? So that way, if you can and you can bring them your driver's license, that way they're not, they can either plead, you can either plead guilty to it, but at least you're not pleading guilty to it while your license is already suspended, so it doesn't go into further suspension. So we just have to figure out what is suspending it. Sometimes we clear up all of the items from courts and various agencies that are suspending the license, and then sometimes it's just administrative, like you pled guilty to a driving while revoked while your license was revoked, and it just suspended it for that much further. We can still, there are still things we can do to try to work with ALEA to get that suspension reduced. It's administrative at that point. It's just working with ALEA and see what we can do.
What happens if you have to get a court involved and go to court? Are there things that can be ordered, community service or driving schools or anything like that that can help, get either points off your license or get your license reinstated? Is that an avenue?
So hypothetically, I go to, I get a ticket in Hoover. I don't go to court. I get a failure to appear. I get an FTA warrant, and Hoover sends ALEA something saying that I didn't show up to court, suspend her license. So I've got to work with Hoover to recall that warrant. Recalling the warrant, if it's for failure to appear, then that should clear that up. And then whatever the underlying is from there, it might be something that might suspend your license further, or it might not be, but as long as we've cleared the failure to appear, Hoover will give me that, that clearance letter. It goes down to ALEA. ALEA removes it from one of the items that removes that item that you would need for reinstatement.
Or is this, in that hypothetical, are you dealing with Hoover Municipal Court?
Hoover Municipal Court.
Okay.
Whoever the court is that has issued that moving violation, if it is a moving violation. So at that in that scenario, that would be Hoover Municipal Court. If it's by a state trooper, then it's going to be in the district court of whatever county that state trooper gave you that ticket.
I think the big takeaway, at least for me, is you can't outrun any of these issues, and they're going to catch up to you eventually. It's better to address them head on.
If a municipality, if a court is going to report a hold on your license for whatever reason, a failure to appear, a failure to pay, whatever the case may be, that is going to stay there, and ALEA is not going to remove it until they get a clearance letter from that court telling them that it's okay to remove it. So it doesn't age out. It has got to get addressed if that's.
And if you have something like that, you need to get it addressed, give you a call.
Absolutely.
And you can unwind all of that and get to the bottom of it.
Yes.
And you being Catherine King.
Yes.
All right. John Spade, thank you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us here on The Attorneys. And go ahead, make an appointment to see us again. More great information, another great episode coming your way. Same place, same time. The Attorneys.
Thanks for watching The Attorneys, sponsored by Hollis Wright.